morning, class. Welcome to Homeroom with Unk and Market Monk.
Morning, P. How's your week?
Oh, really good. I've had a lot of end phase, so enjoyed that. Just even Friday was good there, and the dip buys on the software, really were good for me too. And then just a couple quick hitters here and there. Crypto entries were great. I didn't really get as much as usual on the crypto stuff, but that's probably fine because I usually buy too much of it. So yeah, good overall for me. Still chilling in energy and um, a whole idea of the energy trade really has done well for me. Just the way I have a pretty diverse basket there, and that's paid off. Whether it's solar or nuclear, oil, natural gas, all that.
Nice. Yeah, I did a kind of mixed bag on what I did good on this week, but the ONDS obviously stands out. Just the timing on that, kind of easy, perfect trade. Say thank you. Waiting for the bigger move in there, but sector strong. PCT, RDW, two old faithfuls coming through. Basically, money trees for me. Next doing its thing. Really, the easiest move though. Don't have a lot, but I still liked the thesis and where it was at. Is Geo, the old prison thing. The thing just has
Yeah.
grinded since the SMAs back then. Just got really oversold, and then your a couple of your shitty software ones. Hanging around those as well. But a decent week, even though kind of seen it as flat, which kept me a little, I guess a little less agile, just not making moves too quick. But overall, pretty darn good week for kind of just being a volatile sideways week in the overall market.
How did you do poet this round?
What do you mean? Which round? Which round are we on here? I trade.
Since that, I'm thinking like, so we had, we kind of sold on the way up the first time,
Yes.
big drop. I've been in twice since then.
Oh no, just one more time for me, and we let those go
Oh,
too
okay.
already. Yeah, and it was a
Yeah.
much smaller trade. Yeah, I haven't. I mean, I don't have it on the chart. It's still kind of the original auto RTL down there for me. I made an agreement in the group, right? If it's above 820, I'll shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
If I'm going to shut up, I'm probably not buying it above that until something changes for me. If you see my notes this week, you'll notice there's one in there that previously had a kind of move like this, and it's taken some time to come back on my end. So I assume that will be similar for Poet. But yeah, just it's some big candles, some crazy candles, especially if you look at the weekly. And I just again confident we'll always find the next one. So getting it early and getting out and kind of watching the show usually best for me on stuff like that. The move's too good though. I mean, you take 100% in 3 weeks. I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, no, I know. And it is one of those stocks that I kind of look at the big picture, and it very well could end up being $60 or something. But um I mean, that's tough. I mean, tough. Like it dropped 22% on Friday. I don't want to hang around. I set my stop at 18. Sold into the fat candles on the way up and called it good. So, so I'll just wait for it to set back up again. But the thing, my approach to that, the thing is, if it is gonna do that, if it is gonna just be important and last and not just be a scam or whatever people try to say about it, then it'll set back up in you know high or low here somewhere. It might even eventually set up in the 20s somewhere. It build over time, all of that. So you do actually have time with this. I mean, I think that's what people see the crazy candles like this, and it's like, I have to get in this thing, I have to chase this thing, and then but you really don't. And when it gets to acting like this, it is a fun stock to jump in and out of. Even I wouldn't really do options. They're just the IV's too crazy. But even if you did do options, yeah, you can hop back in and out. But the time to get it was when we were both on it, and then the time to get it was the second time we were both on it, and now you're just playing with the scraps. But yeah, I agree. Find the next one. Um, there's like I said last week, we already know what they are. I think, and yeah, you just gotta wait. They're just boring till they're not. Trickled in a flood, all that. So yeah, that was a fun one. I was just curious how you handled it the
Um, well,
second time.
real quick, like levels are real. Mention. I mean, it would make decisions on bigger time frames. The weekly chart just tells me 714, and to me, I nailed this perfectly. I mean, the way I traded it, not I that I found it. Thank you, P. Um,
Yeah.
because at 714 was it. We got it below it. I mean, I can do this for you, and it came back to with the one run candle, touch it and took off. So it's two safe trades for me, and yeah, 714. It's real easy. Just search our group. It's there. It's been there for a while. Um, yeah, I don't know what to say, but when you have place early, it's pretty easy to trade, and then you don't get caught up in the I didn't see it till 12, so do I buy at 12 mentality. I don't have to do that. I
Yeah.
can say I don't have to do that anymore because I mean we kind of used to do that when we all started trading momentum in the early days. That's what it was. It's like where's the next good level?
Right.
To be
Right.
honest, the only good thing I got out of that was learning about psychological levels and how important they are. In comparison to the consolidation levels or the RTL levels, they're peanuts. But I guess good time to bring that up. I heard a quote this week, and it usually when it's about my shit, it's hard to find value in it, because I've heard most of it, but
Yeah.
the volume profile so I don't save you the guy's 10-minute rant. The volume profile is just where's business has been done. That's what my levels are. It's just, I mean it's the best way to look at it. Business was done there previously. That's where
Yeah.
transaction happened, and that to me, even as a guy that really understands that, was just a great way to put it. And 714 was it for it for that stock. So
Right.
I applied that my style to that stock and sticking with it. Because yeah, I know we already have the next one. Can I say I'm buying it under $3 right now? Can I say that?
Yeah. 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 There you
I
go.
mean, I don't know what else to do, Pete, but besides like buy some of that and check on it weekly, DCA my longs, and play golf. I mean
Yeah.
that's it. That's you figure out something that works for you in the long run, and that's what works for me. And I assume most people have a vision of where they want to be. So, um, but yeah, Poet in itself, like you can't get zoomed in. Minute chart mindset. That's my new line, and I just think that's where you are if you're chasing it at like if you're worried about the 15 to 17 move, you shouldn't. Talk to me when it
Yeah.
gets really, really red.
And that happened with Fastly recently too. I mean, that was one
Yeah.
where people started doing that. And they, I yeah, I saw that clip you're talking about, and I think it was a good summary too of the kinds of indicators that are very popular that
Or shit.
are shit. They're lagging. Like you're
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
lagging. It's trailing and all that.
That
And
explains the commentary, right? We're
yeah,
watching it, we're following it because your indicator's lagging, so are you.
right. No, absolutely. And again, I think that it's when you look at the whole social media world of trading, it's the strategies are sound really smart or sound really dumb, and sounding really dumb's it's easy for a dumb guy to just ramp that up a bit. It's or a very intelligent person can adopt that persona
Yeah,
too. But
100%.
and the and then just the monetizing losing. I mean that's kind of what they fall back on in moments like this. The comeback story, the small account challenges blowing up, and all that stuff. So Yeah, there's a mess of that,
Did
and
you
there's
see?
just not a lot of good information out
Did you
there.
see the one guy that was like about? He said something about posting 20 times a day. I think he's being critical on a guy, and I was like, I trust me, I play golf a lot, and there's no way I could post 20 times a day.
Yeah, yeah, right.
I mean, it just that is always a signal for me. Like if a guy is making money, a guy has good information, he ain't gonna be easy to get at. I mean,
Yeah,
he shouldn't be. I mean,
right.
I don't know. I digress. What else are we gonna talk about today? I'd rather talk about
Well,
China or some shit.
uh,
I don't care.
this will take us into the boring stuff, I suppose. But wanted to just lead off with the 10-year and the narrative about it is that
Christ.
it's in like disaster, precipice, crisis mode right now. You got to pull out on the chart, and it's all it is. It's at a spot where they tend to intervene, you know, and it is. I will say, as kind of the warning signal of um, be careful, the pop and fade thing, and um, it's not. I didn't want to hold a lot of end phase over the weekend with this surging like this, but yeah, I mean, it's like structurally in the market, you know, you have a new Fed chair, you have the 10-year surging. Um, I would look for some kind of statements or action to try to calm things down, and then you could see it in the report card this week for our next session. Um, the reason I think that flow looked the way it did, particularly in fintech, is that there is a little bit of waiting happening. Like, normally on a monthly option expiration, lately they've been going ahead and setting up early a few days before to go into the next week. Whereas this time it just seems like there's a lot of kind of clear the books, dead contracts coming off, and we'll set up and go from here. And there's these existing January positions, but I think we're both in agreement that if anything, just January alone is not really enough
You know.
for a read for us. So I got to wait and see where the compliment's happening, and this is where they potentially kick the can down the road, or they kind of juice things up, particularly August September contracts. Urgency would be, of course, June July, but it is really it's that moment in the market where it's fall plus January. That's what you're gonna see from that's what you're gonna see from me. I just think that with the 10-year doing what it's doing, that they're holding off a little bit on putting their neck out there.
Yeah, my current note or headspace on contract strikes is maybe a little shorter than you, but looking for July, the J months, and October, November.
Yeah,
Best case for me. If it's earlier than that, it's obviously urgent. January to me is just got a shitty unk analogy, just kind of like a owning property, and you just got to pay taxes on it every year. You're not ready to build or
yeah,
anything, that's just your lot over there that you have.
yeah,
When they get those building permits short term, that's when you look for some structure to go up. And that's how I
right.
kind of look at January. They're holding the spot. They own the land, but they're not trying to use it. So yeah, and I'm 100% with you. And that's a busy bus stop intersection, anyways. January is right. Like those contracts have been out there for 2-3 years in general as
Yes.
leaps. So that's always a cloudy month. I've kind of learned that. Yeah, as a non-flow reader, you pick that kind of stuff up. Everyone should be picking that kind of stuff up, looking at your reads. Um, it's to relate it to the 10-year or whatever, with the Fed chair. We had a lot going on last week. Um, I just follow your lead on what it means, but it's definitely stressed currently, I think. And you've seen that. We had a dollar move in SPY last week. If you follow
Yeah.
this session and the other session, it's exactly kind of what we said the market would be doing with all the, not uncertainty, but news coming in. Numbers were real hot. Fed chair changing. Nothing really came out of that China deal. That sounds cloudy to me.
Uh, yes, right. So The China thing is, there's a lot of um, rhetoric, the kind of the structure of an agreement to ease tariffs and all of that. And tariff as a market keyword has kind of lost its potency anyway. So it's I don't know that really moves a lot. I think the China selling cars in Canada and those kind of specific types of news are definitely things I would look for, and then just a very focused. There's still, to me, and when I look at Chinese stocks, there's a an AI trade there. There's a online retailer trade. Real estate is kind of small, but that's there. And then there's just the shitty ones. I have to look up what they do every time. The go to and
Just a relief,
all of them.
relief
And
trade there.
yeah. So definitely some potential there. I people were asking me about SoFi, just as kind of a precursor to the other fintech stuff, and I just didn't have anything yet. It's not like it's bad. I mean, in fact, if it had a clean read, there are old lines for me. I didn't know how to draw the line all the way across, but
Yeah, but that was good.
these, yeah. This little channel here.
That's what it still is.
If I had like unresolved puts to 14, I mean, I would be like laser focused on SoFi and just kind of all over it. But but I don't have that. I think you're fine here to get started. I just don't have any kind of read, and then to see that repeated with the other familiar names, um, that kind of said something to me, and so I am inclined to kind of follow the whales lead and just sort of wait and see on that sector, and then kind of look elsewhere, and I think we'll be good.
Yeah, SoFi is pretty easy for me just because I was educated when they IPO'd. Um,
Yeah.
but the 528 one line chart CEO ads, 728 10-year volume profile, long term volume profile are the best levels. But 13 is it. I talked about that with DG this week. He was asking about this level because the CEO buying, I believe it was DG, might have been vegan.
Yeah.
Sorry, Matt. Um, but 13 was it, and I do remember your lines, and always telling that bottom line's really good. And the top line 26 ain't bad either, but there isn't nothing there yet. But the CEO coming back in and buying at 15 for me, it's going to build a level like it did last time and go from there. But that's a long story.
Yeah.
I'd much rather it be 12 and you tell me you have full structure to
Right.
re-add for my portfolio because I have plenty of it. Um, enough to where, I mean, I obviously the move to 30, put me in a spot where I had to shave. Now I'm pretty light in it, but I do have some, so I would re-add that one. But it has to be right, or you just look for better fish
Yeah.
from the long term. Not to switch topics, but to just something I wanted to get in on that topic is, for those like longer ones, I was really pounding SMAs, month and a half ago or whatnot, and um, just because of how the market was setting up to have that pullback, and we didn't get a long time down there, and it was for me. I knew that we were going to get it this year and knew where we were going to go. Um, was harder for me to trade than last April when it seemed like the sky was falling. But man, I mean, I'll go down with the boat. Um, because if it's going to zero, there's bigger problems, right? I've always said that. So getting
Yeah.
those
Yeah.
those those low Google ads and stuff like that last year, just stuff that's not coming back, was harder for me to deal with this time because of how quick it was. So I really bring that up because if it was easy for you, if you like the quick blood, it's good to know that. And if you need some time to DCA like me, good to know that too. And the last two Aprils are just great examples of that, and the overall strength of the market from there. I mean, you could take either of those and do the percentage on them, and they're pretty good. April was 2 weeks ago, and a year and 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and the ones that I have to really think about are like Dell, where 120
that was a lot.
had been it, for a long time, for me, and I held through the April pullback on that one, with those sub 120 ads, and it's you know, 100% on freaking
Yeah,
Dell.
yeah.
So like, and I didn't expect it to be up here this fast. I mean, I thought like, I don't know, 5 years from now, I'd be thinking about that. And if it had taken 5 years to get up there,
I've been
uh,
happy.
we would have more time to build up there. So now it's like I got to have some spots where I just go ahead and say, all right, thank you very much. And so then it becomes like the Duolingo trade or wing. I never would have thought that for Dell. So, but I think when a move like this, I don't want to round trip this back under 200 from 240. Why would I do that? I don't want to do that. So I do have Microsoft, Google, etc., where kind of keep it forever. I'm just a little more hesitant with one like Dell, given the move it had to just forever ads. If they were $40, okay, but I just don't know about just keeping those for good, given the structure of this move.
For me, restructuring the portfolio has been something I try to work on, and I don't use the percentages, but do kind of use more dollar amounts, and if I were to put, just throw a number out there like 5 grand into this when we were talking about it, I would be fine with just having 5 grand still in it now. If that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Or maybe 2,500. Whatever the case may be. Or playing it the other way. And maybe keeping 7,500 in it, and then having a stop loss at that 200 level. But that's what you have to get, and especially on the longs, that's what you got to figure out. Not after it happens, because you'll be having the wrong thoughts in your head. You really should have that plan. And I don't have to go far to give a really good example. Um, Tesla, $100, 3 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years is what I said then, and we're 400, 300% 2 times since then. Had to pull back
yeah,
to add off of an upper level even, but the original plan had to be in place back then. If not, you just kind of get tugged along in the story, so to speak. Same with coin. Um, for me, that one was a little easier because of how new the prices are in there of the chart, where Tesla has a little
yeah,
more history. So the 333 and 450 always a problem for Tesla. So it's 7 and 900 usually. Um, but yeah, I don't want to get too far off in that. Yeah, manage your longs. If not, ask me and I'll help you out. But for me, doing that right away, because it's usually more money than a day trade, right? Like I'm like, let's use Microsoft. I was trying to put like 40K into that, at 360, 370 over a couple months. That's a lot of money and a big decision to do. So you should have how you're going to manage that already done, as opposed to putting like 3 grand in RDW or something like that. That's just a bad weekend if things
yeah.
go totally south. So yeah, I digress. Go ahead, P.
Well, yeah. AVGO is kind of my example because there were two separate kind of eras with this one. So you go back pre-split, this 80 bucks was 800 and all of that, and so that was one of the times I really started to get into it on this pullback because it looked like they were going to defend 800 and blah blah blah. And my bright idea was I want 10 of these because it's going to split someday.
Yeah.
And then so that was working. That was working fine. And then it was the move over 1100, and it starts to pull back, and I'm just like, well, shit. I just want to take the win or take some off, whatever. And then this line took shape and started to get back into it. Split happens, blah blah blah. But once again, we got this was the Dell thing. It's at 225 now.
Yeah.
I didn't just keep this forever. And you look at how steep that pullback was. It was almost back to my entry there. So I was glad to do that. And then I've just been just trading it here and then. Since then I have like a couple shares, a handful of shares left on the thing. But it's if I had just diamond handed the whole freaking time, like whatever. I mean, that would have been great. But I can't read what I read, even on an investment stock, and just hold through that. It's very hard to see like, well, damn, this might test my 122 again, but I'm seeing that when it's like 175, 200, and I see that unresolved flow. Like it's very hard to just keep that stuff through a move like that. So the planned investments, I end up out of them a little earlier than I would have liked, maybe. But it's not my market to manipulate. So I just I just do adjust kind of my outlook and chips and semiconductors and memory on this kind of historic move like this. Um, you do sometimes have to just take the win, I think, and then move on, and then just have some plans for your investments and have your VU or whatever, and not feel like the individual picks all have to be kept. I don't think that's a good attitude to have either.
Not at all-time highs. I mean, if you're gonna
Yeah,
do that kind of stuff, you do it like when we brought up quantum. You do it how we did it with gold and silver miners. Like that's where you do that stuff at. You just have to be in the right part of the story,
right.
or at a really good price. And chart can go two ways on you. And if you hold, you're talking about just holding through it all. Well, if you hold it through it all the other way, you could be in a bad spot, and it's just going to kind of counterbalance the stuff that did do good in your portfolio. And you're just better off taking, you have to take the building blocks out of the market, so to speak, and put them in different places to grow. And for me, it's having the original price target or level that in mind where it's going to go, and really knowing the realistic ranges of a chart and where it can go. And these all these semis that we're talking about are blowing off the tops into new prices that have never been traded at. So
Yeah.
me sitting here being mad that I didn't predict that, I mean, that's laughable.
No, right, absolutely. And so like, MSTR, those lines they were useful on the way up, but they were really useful on the way down. Just like, okay, I'm done. And it just and this has been great. It's set back up again, and has been a pretty nice trade. Not as explosive, obviously, but that's one. And then I think we both kind of like laugh at this one where people will they try to go back to like .com and you know if you held Cisco since 1998, how you're doing right now. I'm like, okay, or the other way, if you invested $10,000 in Peton and they pick the very top, this is how
Yeah,
much
yeah.
you'd have left, and that, yeah, all that kind of ridiculous stuff. But yeah, I mean, Cisco. I mean, this is another one where I used to talk about this one a lot, and we had some great spots for it for shares, and I don't have much left. Two, I got two left. And have a spot where I'll get rid of them, but uh, yeah, it's just I don't know. I set and forget. There's just a very small list of things that I feel that way. Yes.
That's a price related for me.
Yeah.
Again, I think that's what's most important from what we do is, especially on the share side, is it's just about the price. I mean, you've proven to me, you've been my test dummy, that you can overpay for shit and still do okay.
Yeah. Sure.
I mean, do really good too. And there has been a few
Yeah.
occasions where you overpay and I never get it because I'm too cheap. So, um, in general, yeah, um, that works on the share side. Let's go a little more local here. Um,
Yeah.
uh, I can't let this go by today without bringing it up because I really do try to be a little early ahead with what should be talked about. And next week, these retail ERs,
Yeah.
pretty huge, man. And you're the ER guy, so not having a conversation with you without you, it seems foolish. But Target, obviously, big one for me. Walmart, slightly bigger, and then HD, um, looking to make big. Over here talking about some
Yeah.
loans. But those are the three that kind of stand out to me. I mean, they're in every town, right? Pretty much, and um, well, every town that has more than two stoplights. But they're the leading indicators for me, and um, not from a tradable standpoint this week. We do trade those names, but that they're just gonna lead the perception of retail and the consumer overall.
Uh, yes, and you've got like Urban Outfitters and Ross
Yeah,
and then
tons.
Deck and all of these BJ Wholesale. So there's that the JV team is really a pretty crucial week for them. But yeah, Home Depot it's been showing up in my notes, and I the way I presented it, I'm like, it's kind of like a hedged upside. Try to get some shares too. You saw secondary. You can look in the testimonial page. The way the puts can win pretty big on a run up to a run down to earnings or whatever, just because the IV is really low, and it'll let you get in before the IV elevates right before earnings and all that. But yeah, I mean, and I had a note the other day. I'm like, those mall stocks are gonna come back around. So the way that retail works to me now is that um, the big box stores on the access roads around, the signs you see from the interstate, um, they set the table, and then there's discount stores, and then the mall kind of comes last, but has some of the best percentages that you're going to see. And it's such an opportunity for you have this rotation is just set up for them, where done so well in chips, memory, all of that it is time to look at opportunities in the physical consumer world, and so where how are winners and losers going to be set up in that. So I agree. It's a huge story, and it's going to be a big theme in collabs for at least the next 6 weeks to me.
Yeah, for me, I always look at retail, especially those names. The fortified names, I guess, um, as where like if the casinos are going to be bad because people don't have money and then people aren't eating out, so the restaurants are bad. Like their money is last to go. Um, like you have to go get your milk and diapers, and you have to fix whatever breaks at the home to keep the heat on. Um, so
And
yeah,
maybe you do it yourself to save money.
yeah,
So maybe,
exactly.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so just that kind of angle, and then looking where the consumers are. So for me, they just do really good in higher stressed economies.
it's not a coincidence to me that
Yeah,
while this is happening, that the Costco, you had a chance to get this under 1,000, and you're not getting it 715, and 900 wasn't showing up, or 800 or whatever. But for this to kind of consolidate lately and get a little boring, um, is to me, setting up as a kind of pivot. And Costco has that this sort of tech overlap. It's a big QQQ stock too. Um, so yeah, that term, setting the table, they are definitely doing that, and so I agree. It's a big moment for them.
yeah. Costco's gonna split in the next 18 months.
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel it's get boring, P.
Yep. All right. So definitely an eventful Friday for the boring stuff, and you get a 5% pullback in copper. Copper's still in the kind of in the zone in the playbook for me. I saw a lot more people talking about it
Yes.
on the surge over 6, which usually is a precursor to some kind of red day gonna show up soon. So that's why like I think we had the entries on FCX and SCCO and all that, and you manage what you have for those. But I still do think it's a very healthy chart to me, and there's still a lot of room here and steel and all that. So um, I still think it does see 7 at some point, but yeah, I mean this could easily pull back under 6, and not really that big of a deal to me.
Yeah, I'm in some good names that are adjacent. That they obviously are in collabs here and there. But I'm just waiting for that chart to take off and then to move with it. Um, the grinding up though while waiting for the thesis to pan out is my favorite way to trade, especially in stuff that's boring.
Yep. And then you'll talk about silver. Silver's it's behaving as we talked about since that big surge over 100. And you know the 100 was like kind of the spot. I didn't really bother looking at or thinking about that. It topped out at 120. Hard to say when some moves like that's going to top out, but we both thought that it would pull back pretty steeply after that, and that just happened quickly. These candles down are very fast on it, and I expect that to continue. 9% days on silver were unthinkable when it was in the 30s,
Yeah.
but it's not that surprising when it's up here. I guess that's my take on it. A day like that, Friday, does open the door for day trading silver stuff if you feel like doing that. I don't bother with it. You see a lot of people will alert SLV $40 contracts and try to make $4 on it. I'm not really into that, but I do think we're gonna bottom out somewhere in lower 60s is kind of my think. I think you have a little lower than that, but that's my take on it.
Yeah, I get it. Sound like them news head talking people and say it's gonna have a 5 handle. That's
Yeah,
where I'm
yeah,
at.
yeah, yeah,
The 50s for sure. If you're a share trader in our room though, and you're struggling to find things to trade, I would definitely ask me about some silver miner charts because there's dollars on the table there that are pretty easy to trade as thank you trades.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, it's you have to understand that we both see this as a declining commodity.
Yes, yeah, and I mean it's and you can come up with all the macroeconomic reasons you want why silver should go to 200, and there's bags of rocks and vaults and whatever physical silver and paper silver manipulation and whatever. But I don't know. You're good luck trying to trade up to those numbers
And
based on some idea. Yeah,
this is where Unc just tells you to shut the fuck up and trade the chart.
yeah, exactly right. And then gold, a little more like slower moving and more resilient and all that, and it'll bottom out somewhere 4,000 to 4,200 probably. But
I'm lowering you there too.
yeah,
37.
I wouldn't be in a rush to get back in. That being said, it's never a bad time to buy the physical stuff. To me, I don't, I just do it regularly, but that's more of a hobby than anything. It's like the people pull in the Pokemon card they want and never going to sell the thing. That's fun, but that's kind of how I treat the physical metals.
I'm
But
37 for me, slower move. Yeah, less tradable
yeah,
on the share side.
nice. All right, then oil. The 100 psych and the moves that happen around that. Not really um, that surprising. It's just one of those two where I think that the sector adjusts to some kind of new normal, and that's a lot of what's happened. And there's still, Dino's the one that just took off faster than I, would have thought and stayed where it was and all that. But had plenty of Oxy and Devon and all that. So there's still a lot of opportunities in oil. There's a bigger story here, and then it's really time to really zero in on particular aspects of the sector when you'll hear me talking midstream, pipeline, offshore, what country is it in, like there's a lot to cover there, so I'll definitely be in that sector.
We got it well covered.
Yeah. Natural gas, just we were talking about great spots to scale in, and as it dropped this last time, the move under 3 and the 250, and I was just like, it's not going to go to 2. But there's a 5 to 7 trade here, and the thing's $3, so do with that what you will.
Yeah, I'm not fucking leaving. I posted a meme about it this week.
Yeah, right. And let's see here. I'll talk about China real quick.
Hold on. If I post a meme, I'm at least 4 figures in the trade.
There you go. All right. Yeah. There's little rules like that. It's kind of like if I post a description of the company, it usually means something. Yeah. The China kind of stable here. There's been some there a lot of them are getting through ER, which is good. Kind of get on the other side of that, and you'll be fine. So this definitely consolidation here is good. I think it sets up to go higher, not plummet to me. And I've talked before. This is something I'll return to, but the ways in which the U.S. is becoming more like China and China is becoming more like the U.S. That the transitions in financial markets that accompany that lead to some opportunities. And the clearest example was U.S. getting this big stake in Intel and just jumping right in directly, rather than the government moves stocks by proxy typically. They, and all that. But to just sort of directly jump in like that was something. And so you'll continue to see that. And then on the flip side, China easing up and building international relationships and being a dominant stock market force in new markets like that'll show up too. So we can read that.
Yeah, I don't know the analogy, but China in general is like the stocks are at zero, so to speak. I mean, they have a price and whatnot to them, but they're trading at basically zero. Any kind of good news out of there, I think those all have lots of range. I'm a K-Web guy though. I got the chart up. I'll call this one free. Y'all can have this one, but those levels work great. You can see when any kind of euphoria comes out, that just moves tremendously. So
yeah,
it's easy to get ahead of that one. You can see it coming.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, don't be surprised if Bidu's in my notes. They have earnings Monday, so
nice.
Just the quick hitter that then sets up for something bigger is what I'm looking for there. All right, and then talk about lithium real quick. Pretty smooth. Nice ride up. Expect that to continue. The you just here again. You see with ONDS the device physical AI trade. So you have all these intelligent AI systems or whatever. The devices you put them in and what they do, and the role lithium plays in powering all that stuff is going to continue to show up. And
yeah, we have some good names, very tradable names.
Yep.
One of my favorite sectors because nobody knows about it. They haven't figured it out yet.
Nope, not at all. And uranium, again, you have that kind of those sort of delayed reactions here, but it's just it's part of the energy trade. A lot of those names showing back up, and I'd expect that to continue. And then before I get to Bitcoin, I don't have a you can't commodify the sun really, but damn good timing bringing this thing up a couple weeks ago. So this this is the solar ETF, really heavy in First Solar in terms of its distribution, but Enphase and all them are in there. There's a couple of solar names that have been lagging that we've traded before that I would be interested in talking about in the coming weeks.
About a month ago, I had my weekly notes. I said I could have done sectors on, and solar was one of them. Then that's when the sedge came up on my end, and run was in the last 5. But we have good coverage there. What I've noticed about that sector is the news has been so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
On an individual basis, it's been really good.
And you want to talk about things people don't know about the green energy, all that stuff. Those have been good, and it just there's a pretty massive setup in a lot of those. There's things trading at 3 that realistically do go to 10. I think.
Shit, that's the only one I haven't 100%ed yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the bleed over is what I want to talk about. Of that is, I mean, I was big in the EV days, and then you get the battery tech and the solar tech and all that came with it. So I have all these names from that are kind of still around, and and they're just taking off. So with the battery or with the bleed over from the energy trade, Plug is a great example.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. I mean, getting back into those, and I remember way early. It was one of the first sectors that we talked about. I remember one, Blink. Remember that one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and just I was like, there's too many of these. So someone's gonna live, someone's gonna die, and then these will be good, and that's sort of materialized from this spot where they were.
That's probably the only sector I had before I met you.
Yeah. All right, and then was Beam one of those two? Yeah. All right, do some crypto. So yeah, Bitcoin.
F-Cell.
Of course, you had all the the excitement of breaking 80 and all that. Little pullback here, but still a lot of opportunity in coin. I posted a trade to get back into MSTR that did well, and then there's your BitDeers of the world and Mara and all that, but still kind of limited upside to me of lower 90s here, but you did have that legislation pass, and so I mean there are, I guess what I'd say with crypto is like there are better fish, but I know this fish pretty well, so I linger and hang around, but I don't know where you're at on it.
Mars $12. Y'all should have done great there.
We'll
start there.
Right.
We'll start there, and then I mean the tradable range. I was looking at a couple of names just because of where they are in the levels. So I think if you just let levels lead, and if flow checks out, good thank you spot in general. I mean, that's kind of what we do or what we push is that you learn the sector, learn stocks, and you can trade them even in the worst conditions. Trade them for life, so to speak. So it's there. Currently, Bitcoin itself, though, I'm not bullish on. Let's just go there.
Yeah, no, that's fine. The cycle broke down to me, like the people always talk about, and the charts they posted for years, and that happened predictably when once institutions got involved and took the wheel, and all of these derivatives and derivatives of the derivatives and all that stuff. It's the road to a million per coin is difficult.
Hey, will you read that note in the bottom right for me?
Yeah. The Bitcoin held near
Yeah, that one.
that one. Okay. BTC held near 78,700 after 10-day range. Key support 78,203, 77, 74, 29. Major support 71 to 68. And then resistance 83, 87, 98, 107 to 109.
Okay, Hugh.
Right. Yeah, this is AI generated, by the way. You can
Yeah,
see the
yeah,
little,
yeah.
little thing there. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna this is like the meme of the target shooting where the guy's got the glasses on and like and different things on it. That you're trying to trade that. I have prices on MSTR where I'm like, okay, uh, when it was 120, you didn't see the word hedged there for me.
Sure.
Up here, you see hedged upside, and then it'll reach a point where it's like day trade, and then nothing. So it's definitely there's that familiarity, but yeah, I mean, just trying to draw a bunch of diagonal lines and VWAPs and things on Bitcoin isn't going to get you very far to me.
Yeah, no, it's one of those sectors where it's kind of showed that you need to know how to trade through the
Yes.
years for us.
Yep. All right. I think that's. Oh, I'll talk SPY real quick.
Yeah.
Let's just see. I'm looking at this fresh. I haven't checked. I had someone ask, "Are you buying SQQQ?" And
good question.
That is a good question, and that does. I do kind of look for it, and there are ways I scale into it and everything. I still don't have some big signal to share about where we are, and SPY in particular, a lot's coming off the books for May that that we can kind of go ahead and get rid of. So no, I don't really have much. That's some big setup here taking shape on my end, I guess is what I'd say.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna switch on the no bombs. We continue to grind until we have a reason to not grind. I get most of the news we stated is pretty fucking negative. It can't get more negative. It can, but it's hard to get more negative. Volatility, yes, but that downward pullback, there's really no appetite for it. And we've seen this since last September. So why try to get cute with what you're doing?
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the clustering above thing I talk about, not surprising that's 800 plus on SPY, and a lot of times, like when I look at a chart like this, it's like we have that clustering above. It's like, okay, that's a stock to you want to bet on long term. Well, SPY obviously is something that you want to historically you want to be optimistic on it. But yeah, I mean, even the numbers below that stand out on something like this, 700 obviously, and then it's just it's like 660, and but there isn't. It's not set up. If I had a 700 for July and a 660 for November or something, then I'd have more of an idea of a pullback like that. But I don't see them setting that up right now.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb, and if bread's $30 a loaf, I don't think SPY's at 400.
Right.
If that makes sense, because the value of the dollar is gonna look a little different, and that's one thing I do get concerned when I do see numbers as high as it's even here. I mean, you have activity at 1,000, which is pretty insane.
Yeah, no, I know. Yeah, it's definitely the Wall Street Main Street thing. This idea that well, now it's Main Street's turn. Uh, It kind of never is. It never will be.
Well,
Right.
they'll fight
And so,
it. They're gonna fight it.
yeah, right. Yeah.
They're not just gonna say, "Oh, it's your turn. Here you go. Have some."
Right. I mean, I guess, like, I think of, I don't know, the peasants' revolt in Middle Ages, or like the French Revolution, or the I don't know, the Russian Revolution. That was Main Street's turn, I suppose. But we
Yeah.
kind of see the aftermath of that, so I don't think you want that. But anyway, yeah, I just don't honestly, like, in April, I saw something different in April than I do now, and there's just not there's not a lot there's a lot of hesitation right now with bonds that are, I think, causing me to not see very much right now.
I think the better question from a non-flow person that's asking a flow person is, how much are they sticking their necks out, and and the time of that. Are they giving themselves a lot of time? I think that's the better question on what they're currently doing than where are they doing it.
Yeah, it's there's no urgency to it. I mean, it's just it's this outlier September 660, and it doesn't have a complement. So until it has a complement, either before, or we're approaching the point where it's going to be after, and is that number above or below where they're at? That's the open question.
Yeah. Still hanging around
So,
that 5% from 700 pullback, though, which I don't think is bearish
Right.
in general. So
yeah,
just be mindful of that out there. So this week, another choppy week. Is that what you see?
yeah, that's looks like it. And just one of those, the best moves overnight, and you can't 50-50 that with one DTE option contracts. You're gonna lose if you try to do that.
Sure.
The move that you need is so dramatic, that, yes, a 1% day, you'll be doing well. How many 1% days on SPY do you think we're going to get next week?
Yeah.
Maybe one.
Yeah.
And no, you can't really trade that. So yeah, I mean, just be careful. Just watch the small accounts blow up, and get in, use the work, because we'll have some good work this week.
Yeah, and for me, it translates into share side. Secondary moves are safer, and that really just means 7:30 my time.
Yep.
Perfect. Ready to work, Pete?
Yeah. I'll grab a coffee refill and be ready.
Like and subscribe. Link somewhere, people.